Hey everyone, welcome back for another video. This is going to be a continuation of how to love and communicate effectively. So I'm going to start by doing a really quick recap on what we've talked about so far in the series, and then we'll get into the beginning form of the communication today. Let me share this screen. Okay, so just to recap, when we talked about love, we stated that it is an intense feeling of deep affection. That is what you can find in the dictionary as far as what love is. However, we stated that in biblical terms, what love actually is 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. It's like a very good representation of that. Love is patient and kind, never jealous, boastful, proud, or rude. Love isn't selfish or quick-tempered. It doesn't keep a track record of wrongs that others do. Love rejoices in the truth, but not in evil. Love is always supportive, loyal, hopeful, and trusting, and love never fails. Again, that's 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. So, being as Christians, we should have God's definition of love. Love is not a feeling, is an action. It's something that you must do. You must show it. And just like we show that we are Christians before we ever open up our mouth or give someone a Bible verse or whatever. So we do it by our lifestyles, how we live. And so showing others love is the same thing. It's how we react to certain things, our attitudes, how kind we are. When you show someone you love them, it's not based on whether you like them right now. That's definitely not it. So it's based on, I love you. I may not like you right now, so I'm going to treat you, with love instead of how I feel at the moment. All right. So Romans 12 and 10, love each other as brother and sisters and honor others more than you do yourself. So that is the huge portion that I really had to come into terms with when I'm talking about I love someone, honor them more than I do myself. That is so, so, so difficult, especially when you're considering, dating someone or getting married or wanting to be in a relationship. Is that person going to honor you? Like if you're honoring them more than yourself, is that person going to do the same? And that is, something that I'm glad I have a good understanding about before marriage, instead of, already saying I do to somebody and then learning these things after, and then, having to have them to be open and learning these things as well, about honoring and respecting each other and serving each other in marriage, friendship, and any relationship. Love is more important than anything else. It is what ties everything completely together. Love is all is a song that I've heard, and that really is it. It ties everything together. Our life, the amount of peace that we have, it all stems from love. So communication is defined as a successful conveying or sharing of ideas and feelings. So it's not just your ideas and feelings, it is sharing. So what's critical to understand as far as communication is it's not just you saying how you feel, what your idea is, but you also have to be open to receiving others. And that is successful communication, where you both can sit down, have a conversation. Somebody has to be humble to be, the first to listen. Everybody wants to be the first to talk and get it off their chest, but no one wants to be the first to listen and truly hear the other person out. So that's where successful communication comes from. We can all sit up here and run our mouth and talk. However, if our goal is to resolve something when we get up from, speaking, has it been resolved? Did the other person understand what we're saying? That's communication. So there's a couple things that you need to know. These are what we're going to call rules of engagement. So before you sit down and have a conversation or communicate with someone, these are some critical rules that you need to follow. All right, first, do not engage in anger. If you are upset, do not engage. Stay away. So if you are angry, upset, if you cannot calmly speak and calmly listen, it's one thing if you're like, okay, well, I can calmly speak, but if that person says one thing, I'm going to jump across this. No, that is not when you need to engage. So you ought to, I don't know if you have to, table the conversation for another hour or two, go pray, call a friend, vent, but you don't want to engage in anger because you're not going to successfully communicate. You're going to yell, you're going to get irate, and that's not communicating. Fighting, yelling, screaming, and going on, it doesn't accomplish anything at all. It just creates a bigger mess, and that's counterproductive. So you don't want to waste your time giving that energy, and you're going to put more distance in that relationship if you engage in anger. So you really have to woo-saw, maybe table it for another day, etc., whatever the case may be. But do not open up a conversation and say you want to have say you want to communicate and there's anger on the table. So that may mean if that other person is angry, you're going to have to table. If you're angry, you're going to have to table because it feeds off each other. And if that person is a little hostile, you want to get a hostile, and it's just going to, tit for tat, going toe to toe. And you don't want to do that. It's not going to solve anything, and it's going to make things worse. All right, second, have a goal in mind. So you don't want to sit down and say, hey, I want to talk to you, have a conversation, and you don't have a goal in mind. That person doesn't have a goal in mind, because you want to sit down and talk about what the goal is before you get started. So if the goal is, hey, I noticed there is a bit of a gap in our relationship. Things are not really the same, and I'm not sure why. So I just want to sit down and talk to you, and let's see, put our heads together, and let's see, tell me what's on your mind. What can we do to get back to where we were a month ago, a year ago, or when we first met, etc. So you want to have that goal in mind. The goal could be, whenever we sit down and talk, we're always yelling, I want to be able to, let's come up with a plan. Let's come up with something, how can we avoid doing that? Or when I come home from work and, you come straight to me with all these issues or whatever, let's see how we can avoid that. So you want to, again, have a goal in mind. You want to sit down with whoever you need to communicate with. Let's start with the goal. The goal, the reason why I wanted to talk to you today is because of this. I know I can't fix it on my own. I need you, so you can help me figure out where the problem lies, and so that we can both fix this. So again, don't engage in anger. Don't come hostile with an attitude. Make sure you are able to be very level-headed, and that person can also, the same way. And if you have a goal in mind and you're talking to them about what that goal is, and you're telling them that you need their help, you're not pointing a finger. And because you're not pointing a finger, that would automatically, that person is just a little timid, they're on the edge of their seat, ready to be defensive, that will kind of like, take that defense mechanism away. And so, they don't have to be defensive, feeling like you're on the offense and you're just pointing fingers, no, it takes two. So timing is everything. So the third rule of engagement is timing is everything. It's everything. You don't want to table something too long. What I mean table something too long is there's an issue, there's something that someone does and it is bothering you. And next time you see him, it's bothering you again. But if you do not resolve that either between yourself, and you can let it go by not engaging, by not bringing that to the other person, and you can just, you know what, I'm not going to get upset with that person, great. But if you can't, then you need to communicate and have a conversation with that person about what it is that they're doing that's bothering you, and figure out, you know, how you guys both can get that to stop. But you have to keep in mind, if you wait too long, after a while, you're not even going to remember what it is that they did to tick you off. Okay? There are so many relationships that have been ruined because people table things. They don't address it either. You know, they don't know how to communicate effectively. You know, they're anxious and they're scared to confront issues. Or they feel like they have to confront a person in order to resolve an issue, and that's not the case. And so there's these things that are tick, 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 ticking. And after a while, they don't remember what it is and what started it. But next thing you know, they cannot stand that person. And it could be somebody they married to and sleeping with by every night, and all of a sudden they resent their spouse. Or there's a gap so wide they don't know how to fill it. They are not interested in their spouse anymore, or they're not interested in that friendship. But it started small. But because that wasn't addressed, you put another pebble on top of that, another pebble on top of that, another pebble on top. And so after a while, these pebbles pile up and you have a barricade between you and that other person. And you don't even know how it started. And it looks so big where you don't even want to bother. Like, you know what? Let me just find a new friend, get a new man, new woman, whatever. I don't want to have to deal with this. So you want to make sure that you don't wait too long to address things. You don't want things to pile up because you will resent the person. And you want to make sure that you don't do it too quickly where you're still upset, you're still angry, and you can't talk. Like if you're emotional and you're an emotional person where like you slinging stuff around and like, you know what, and you did this, you know, if you're doing that, that's no bueno. That's no good. I mean, that's not going to be effective. So what you need to make sure that you're in the right frame of mind, where you can sit down and speak and listen without getting angry, without getting upset, without, you know, maybe you have to write stuff down, you know, maybe you need to write a note, you know, and get your words out. And maybe that could be how you engage in the conversation, or get, you know, things started. But anyway, timing is everything. The last point I want to make for this video is, remember, it takes two. It is so easy to point a finger. You did this. I don't like it when you do that. You. But there are more fingers pointing back. You see these fingers pointing back, and they're all going forward. So you want to make sure that it took two. So whatever it was, it took two. And there are two sides of that scenario. There are two views in that situation, and you want to make sure that you understand that you are open to listening to what that person has to say, to their point of view, their opinion, and what they may feel the solution is. So you have to be willing to, you know what, have ownership. That's one thing that has ruined I'm not going to say ruin, but that has really put a huge boulder in a relationship where there's no ownership. There's no ownership in anything. You know, it's always he did, she did. Well, if y'all wouldn't have did that, then I wouldn't have had to do this or whatever. You know, it's always somebody else. And it's annoying because there's one common denominator in all these situations. And I'm like, it's you, you know, different face to all these people, but it's the same scenario. So that means, you know, you have to, it took two. So whatever the case may be, you were cheated on, it took two to get in that situation. It took two. I don't care what it is. It took two. Could have been you not listening to the Holy Spirit when it said, let them go. You know, don't you do it. You don't need them. You know, something wrong with that. You know, it takes two. So don't have, you know, want to engage and have form of communication, because communication is, again, sharing ideas, sharing feelings. So if you're not open to receiving and you just want to give the gift of your mouth, your thoughts, your feelings, then it's not going to work. No one likes selfish people. You know, where it's always you, your birthday, yo this, yo that, what you want, you calling, and it's always you want it, you know. Don't do that. Don't do that. So remember, again, it takes two, and in order to resolve it, it's going to take two. It's going to take, you know, hey, I'd love for us to get back to that. Where would you like to see our relationship be? You know, like, I would love to see this, but what would you like to see? What would you like from me? So again, as far as communication is, never go into it angry. Have a goal in mind. What is it that you both want to see out of that situation? Your picture could be different from theirs. Talk to them, okay? So let's sit down. What is our goal going to be? You know, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour after we, you know, sit down and talk. When we get up from here, what do you want to see happen? What do you want to see from me? This is what I want to see from you, etc. Timing. Don't wait too late. Do not wait too late where you have a wall built up and you don't feel like climbing over it and they don't feel like climbing over it, and then that relationship is just, all right. And then again, remember, it takes two. Take some ownership. So regardless of what happened, don't sit up there and want to point the finger, because you have to keep in mind it took two. You in that situation somehow as well. So be open to hearing, you know, someone else's point of view as well. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. And I believe the next video will probably be live. I'll see if I can get Pastor Meriwether back on. And I don't know, I might see if I can grab one or two other people. But feel free to comment with any questions that you have that you would like to see answered, either by me or by a guest. If you cannot make it to one of the live videos, which will probably be in about 2 weeks, then feel free to send me, you know, if you don't want to post your question, send me a message with your question, and we'll see if we can get your response as soon as possible. All right, thank you again. God bless.